Welcome to the Women in Business radio show with Sian Murphy, connecting women in business around the globe.
Welcome into the Women in Business radio show studio. If you were listening live on Channel Radio, you will have heard it was the normal sort of chaotic introduction with a mix of songs and goodness knows what else going on and lots of fiddling around with the knobs and buttons over this side. But never mind, we are all in here, we are all really calm, and let me introduce who we've got in the studio today. My special guest in the studio today is Michele Yianni-Attard, and she is the founder of Future Insight, which is a diverse accountancy practice. She's also she's a winner of the Top 50 Women in Accounting Award, which is a global award. But she's also, goodness me, she does so much. She is, I've been trying to find a word for this, multi.
She's a serial entrepreneur.
A serial.
I've been saving that up.
Hang on.
She's been struggling to find that word.
Hang on a minute, because I need to introduce him. This is Paul Andrews, who is my co-host today, who's also the owner, producer, and everything else to do with Channel Radio. And I'm just about to say, actually, I had to manage to think of the word serial entrepreneur. You see, the thing is, though, I'm not sure that Michele is a serial entrepreneur, because a serial entrepreneur creates one thing after the other, a bit like a serial killer.
Yeah.
One thing after the other. I'm not sure that's what she did, and neither are you. You don't know. She could have set them up. She could have set them up in it's not in parallel, is it? It's where not in sequence. Where she could have set them up all at the same time. You have no idea. You don't know. You didn't know that.
That's true, but unlikely.
No, not necessarily. I know, Michele. I think actually it's quite possible. Anyway, she is a multi-faceted entrepreneur who runs actually just more than one business, and quite a significant business. Hang on a minute. No, it's all right. There's always trouble. I've done something wrong with the microphones, but never mind. She has a number of businesses. She runs a property business. She first started her own business up when she was... How old were you, Michele?
16.
16. She set up a sweet stall. So basically, lots and lots and lots going on. She's also a speaker, and we're going to be talking with Michele during the show about awards, entering awards, being nominated for awards, but also her journey with ADHD and the menopause and how that fits in with her business, how she manages all of that lot and sort of keeps it all going. So that's what we're going to be talking about. We have a few... hang on a minute. Paul has his own show. Okay, Paul is the host of as well, and you need to say so. You can't help yourself.
All I was going to say is that's impressive.
It is.
Oh, thank you.
It is very impressive. Just a few announcements, which also include, Michele, is that we have the Women in Business Big Show 2023, which is at Longfield Academy in, Longfield, strangely enough, which is just down, if you don't know Longfield, it's just down the road from Ebbsfleet, which is 15 minutes from St Pancras, so it's down in the southeast, just outside of London, where we have, we have 20 speakers, and Michele is not only a sponsor, but she's also a speaker, and I'd like to be able to tell you that we were organised enough to know what she's going to be speaking about. But as we go through today's show, you're going to see that this isn't actually that easy, because there are so many things that we could actually be talking about. Yes, she runs an accountancy firm, but I don't know, do we want her to talk about accounts? I think there's so much else going on that I think we can diversify away from accounts and books and that sort of thing, and tap into what she knows as her experience as a businesswoman. Are you going to say something?
No, I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed. I wouldn't dare.
You sure?
I wouldn't dare.
And Paul is also going to be at the Women in Business Big Show.
I am.
Paul is there, and he's going to be interviewing people. So he will probably end up interviewing Michele.
I will.
There. So he's going to be interviewing our VIP exhibitors. He's going to be chatting to our speakers, and generally sort of running around and connecting with people, getting recordings, which is absolutely fantastic. I'll just be wafting. I don't really do. I just
waft, don't you?
I am a professional wafter.
Absolutely, yeah. No, whereas I work hard all day at your events.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, where are we going to go on to now? I've got absolutely no idea. It's the usual sort of professional setup, isn't it? I think what we'll do is we are going to have a chat with Michele, and we're going to ask her just to sort of as briefly as you can, I think, because it's a very, very long story. Sort of if you can just give listeners an idea of how you got to where you are, what you do now, and really who you do it with. So what sort of clients do you work with, so that we can get a sense of where you are before we start picking your brains, grilling you, and taking every bit of knowledge that you've got, just sucking it out, really.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sian. Hello, everybody. Like Sian was saying, I do own an accounting firm. I had a long journey from when I was 16. And it was actually stemmed from my grandparents, because they were entrepreneurs.
Right.
So it's in my blood, so to speak. And I used to sit in their cafe since I was 3, looking at their hospitality and how they treated their customers. So I always had that customer focus in my life. And I said to my granddad one day when I was 14, I've got this great idea. I want to run a stall down East Street Market, because we used to go there like most Sundays. And he was like, okay, I will invest 1,000, which was a lot of money back then, because I'm not going to tell you my age. And he made me do a business plan. And he said, okay, why do you think you're going to be successful? Who's your objectives? Who you going to, he was very entrepreneur, my grandfather. In the end, he helped me. So I started my first entrepreneur journey when I was 16 with the help of the backing of my granddad. And then, I was going to do music and drama. I was going to be a music and drama teacher. And then my mum said to me, no, Michele, you need a more serious job. I can't imagine you being a music and drama teacher. Well, that's what I wanted to do. And she said, no, you're going to come and work with me. So she worked for the Prince's Trust. And so I got a YTS scheme working at the Duchy of Cornwall. So that's how I started off my accounting career, really. And many years later, I went through the ranks, and then I was like, I became a financial controller of a design consultancy, and then I had my son, and then I was like, oh, do I really want to go back full time? And I didn't really want to go back full time. I wanted to work around my son. I wanted to get all those key moments. And that's when I started the journey of Future Insight, really. I was self-employed for a while before I became a limited company.
So you were self-employed as an accountant?
Yes.
Yes, so working with clients on that sort of basis.
Yeah, so I got my practice licence, and then I started advertising.
What made you make the change from being self-employed to setting up a limited company?
Because I needed more help. And I knew that I was going to reach the accounting sort of VAT threshold. I felt it was best, to be a limited liability company, which would help me, with having staff and having to be VAT registered and keep it neat and tidy under one roof, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and we have a lot of listeners who are in the States, so I would think there's a similar process that you would go through in the States, even though it may not be called the same thing.
Yeah.
That you would move from being self-employed to actually setting up as a company, as a business.
Yeah.
So that you can be so that you have a good structure for employing people or working with other people. Yeah.
Absolutely,
okay.
And that was important to me. The team I have now are amazing. We've all got disabilities. That's why I say I'm a diverse accounting firm. I have one team member that's got Asperger's. I've got 2 people that also have ADHD. So I call us a diverse accounting firm.
Did that happen? Did it happen organically, or was it something that I don't know how you choose to do this, but that you chose to do? Because my experience of people who have dyslexia, who are autistic, who have ADHD, is they tend to be a lot cleverer.
Yeah.
I don't know if clever is the right word, actually. They tend to look at things in a different way,
Absolutely.
which brings a different sort of creativity into the business.
Absolutely.
So did you seek people who may have that different way of thinking?
No.
They were drawn towards you.
They were drawn towards me, and that's funny to say that a lot of people with ADHD are drawn to people with the same disability. I've met people along the way in my journey, my career journey, that have got ADHD or some sort of spectrum autism. It seems like our brain's a bit more wired, if that makes sense, that there's this connection.
You see, and I'm going to, I don't often challenge, but I'm going to challenge that you've called it a disability. You see, I don't see it as a disability. Or is it that it's labelled as a disability?
It's because it's labelled as a disability. Most people see it as a disability, but I don't see it as a disability. I see it as a godsend in my firm.
Yeah, I see it as an ability.
Absolutely, ability, and they can take on challenges. So we get everything thrown at us in the accounting firm, and we're able to diverse to way of helping, which I love about it.
I think my own personal experience is that with these sorts of things, with this different way of thinking, comes lots of brilliant ideas, an ability to focus on particular things, to take things deeper than perhaps other people can.
Absolutely.
But that there are other I keep using the word things that you actually need to think about to put in place to support that person, such as needing time by themselves, needing time off, needing to not be disturbed, for instance.
Absolutely.
To be okay in their own bubble and without the door opening or the phone ringing or you talking to them. So how do you manage that within an organisation where actually everybody sort of has to work together and there are pressures coming in from the outside, aren't there?
Yeah.
Because you're working with clients. It's an accountancy business.
Absolutely.
So you have clients who want answers, who want stuff. There are deadlines that are coming in. How do you balance the need of somebody to perhaps go and sit in a cave for 2 days with the end of year returns, for instance?
Okay. So we have an amazing PA CO, and she takes all the calls on behalf of us. And then they're transferred. So we use a system called Slack.
Oh, okay.
And Slack we find interesting because we'll send out, and also on Slack, I don't know if anyone knows about this feature, but it says if we're in a busy mode, if we're taking a break mode, that sort of thing, and we'll come back later in an hour or 5 minutes. So people switch those off to say, I need an hour's break, I will come back to the client. As long as my team come back to the client within 3 hours, that seems the best bet that they can chat to the client then. If not, it will be the next day. Or we pass it to another, because we're a close, united team, someone else can do that and talk to that client on their behalf. So that's how we work together as a team. I don't call them staff, I call them team members.
Okay. Do you tell your clients that about the diversity that you have in your business so that perhaps you've managed their expectations and they understand if John or Jane doesn't get back to them straight away, that they may just be taking some time out?
Yeah. Yes, we do that. So absolutely. It's in our newsletter. We send out a monthly newsletter. We tell everybody about the team. It'd be one team member of the month, and we'll say about them and what their diversity and what they do and stuff like that. So they know that. We've even had one of our members transition. Absolutely.
So hang on, transition as in go from one
gender to another gender.
I understand. Yes, okay.
Okay, so that took time to get used to.
I didn't know if you meant transition from a bookkeeper to an accountant or sort of. Okay,
no.
yes.
Transitioned into one gender to another gender. Okay. And they got all the support that they needed. At the end of the day, they're all doing a brilliant job.
I've actually supported a team member doing just that thing.
Yeah.
And it's challenging.
Yeah.
For all sorts of reasons. But it's really rewarding to help somebody through that journey as part of their career path as well.
Absolutely. So what we said to this team member, they were going on holiday. So we said, look, why don't we introduce you when you come back from your holiday as the new name, as the new team member? And clients accepted it. They said, at the end of the day, Michele, I don't care who does my books, who does my accounting, as long as someone's given me the right advice. I love my clients. they're such good people that I work with, and they went through the journey with us and they were happy. So I'm very lucky in the clients that I have taken on board.
When you say lucky, you just know I'm going to say something, don't you?
No, I know.
No, you're not lucky.
I'm not lucky.
Oh, I'm there's a few wars. There's a few battles I'm fighting at the moment.
Okay.
One of them is positive thinking.
Okay.
The other one is being lucky. You didn't sit there watching Emmerdale all day and suddenly ended up with a bunch of really wonderful clients that you like and that you that all work together. It wasn't luck. How did you do it?
Okay, it was word of mouth.
Well, she was watching Emmerdale and she suddenly had this blinding...
No, it was word of mouth. I'm going to be honest. I said to my existing clients, look, if you're really happy with the service that you get from us, I'd like some more new clients. And they went out of their way to find me new clients. So I'm really lucky, and I think I'm lucky that, grateful. Okay, maybe luck is the wrong word and grateful should be the word.
I'll tell you what, the word that you think is the word that came out of your mouth. Okay, so you need to change that.
No, but it is, I'm grateful for the clients that I've got.
You took action.
Yeah, I did take
action. There was no luck involved.
No, I know.
There was no luck involved.
Yes.
You took action.
Exactly. And people, when they meet me first, I go straight into it. I go, what is it that you need? How do you need it? And so forth. Tell me about your business. I let them talk, and then I go, these are the solutions you can have. And I bang out 3 or 4 solutions, and they're like, I never thought of that, Michele. Oh, my word. And that's great. I feel like I can get that over when I give this to new business clients.
Do you mind if I just drill down a little bit more and just sort of pick your brains about asking your existing clients? Because I think it's something that people very often, they either forget to do or they don't do. Mm-hmm. I don't know, perhaps they're worried about the answer that they'll get.
Okay.
Or that nothing will happen, or that they're going to rock some sort of boat.
Mm-hmm.
But for you, it worked. So you asked your existing clients. And I suppose, in a way, you took the bull by the horns, because they might have said, actually, do you know, I'm not very happy.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking of going for a while, and now's the time I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It may not sound okay, but it sort of is.
Yeah.
So how long did you leave it after you'd been sort of delivering a service with a client before you went and spoke to them? Did you ring them up? Did you email them? Did you have a private conversation with them? Because it seems to have worked.
Yeah. The funny, I have all my clients on WhatsApp, and I like that because they can ask me questions on WhatsApp. They can get an accountant when they need to get an accountant and an answer.
Can I ask, is that business WhatsApp or is that personal WhatsApp?
It's personal WhatsApp.
Okay.
I call it I'm a personal basis.
Okay.
All my family say I'm a workaholic, and I always focus on the company and focus on my clients, which I do.
So I know I'm interrupting you. So when does your day stop, or doesn't your day stop?
My day never stops. I'm even dreaming.
So if I was one of your clients,
yes,
and I sent you a message at 10:30 at night,
yeah,
and said, I've got X, Y, and Z, or can I send this off to you? You'd respond.
I would respond. So I talk to people at 6 o'clock in the morning. I talk to people up to midnight. There's some clients that get off a plane and they say, I don't know what to do. I've just received this from HMRC, help. And I'll respond. I know.
How are you going... Does that put limits on how many clients you effectively can have, or do you have another team member who's doing the same? Because there must come a point where you just never stop. And if you quadrupled your client base, how would you offer that same service?
Because I've got the same team members, and I've also got a team member that is in the States that looks after my clients.
Got you. So you have
in Malta.
So you have more than one person that is available on WhatsApp apart from you.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Can I just come in there, because I'm very much in Michaela's school of dealing with my clients, and the issue is, and a mistake that so many business people make by not answering their clients, is they then get very angry clients.
That's right.
And then they get inundated with messages going, I've been trying to get hold of you for weeks, and
Absolutely.
If you tend to deal with it straight away, I mean, it's not necessarily that she's going to fix the problem. It's just she's going, okay, okay, Paul, thanks for letting me know. I'll get on that and I'll be back to you in the morning.
Yeah.
Then the client goes away going, Michaela's handling that. I can go to sleep and rest. And so many people make the mistake of not answering their clients and generating 4 times as much work, most of which is angry.
Yeah. And you're right. We... this was a little while ago, and hopefully people still feel the same. But we brought a client on, so in the WordPress website side of what we do. And we said, just wanted to ask you, why have you come on board? Always like to know. And do you know what they said? Because you picked the phone up.
Yeah.
Every time I called you, you answered the phone.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
It's absolute business is that simple, is dealing with people and dealing with them when they want to be dealt with, not when it suits you.
And another interesting thing, thinking about it, is we have some people who've come on board when they already have existing contracts with other people. And when we say, okay, why are you doing this? And it's because you answer, you respond to emails and you get the stuff done.
Yeah.
Whereas, Tommy Flanagan or whoever it may happen to be, I'm still waiting 4 to 5 weeks. I can't believe this actually happens, but I'm still waiting 4 to 5 weeks later to get something changed on my website or to get an answer. And in a way, it's a no-brainer. It was just, if you were doing all of it, thinking, how is this going to work? But basically, you've got other team members.
That's
so
correct.
you deal with some of the clients. Is that the clients that you started dealing with when you first started your business?
Absolutely.
So you've continued that relationship.
I did.
But you've brought in other people. So a new client comes on board and they have a relationship that they develop with somebody else.
Absolutely. Because
Can I ask a question there, Michaela?
Yeah.
Do you find that because your clients know they're going to get a response from you, they don't always bother you with questions straight away, because they go, well, as soon as I'll speak to Michaela in the morning because she'll sort it out then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So they don't take advantage.
No, they don't take advantage. Okay. It's great when some of your clients say, it's my dream team. I love it. I love getting those responses saying, thanks a lot, because I gave them the answer, and they go, the dream team. and that to me makes it feel great, because we have a bookkeeping team. We have a team that do purely bookkeeping, which is Future Insight Bookkeepers. We have the accounting team, which is me. And then we have a consultancy team. So I do some FD services too. So
FD, financial director.
Yes. Services as well. So it's great having a team, getting the right people.
Let's just expand on that FD, that financial director service, because I think sometimes people don't really understand.
Sure.
That sounds really. I didn't mean it to sound patronising, but they don't get that they may not be in a position to have a financial director in their own business, but they can actually bring in a financial director.
Of course they can, on a consultancy basis. Yeah. So I've got a client I see 3 days a month. They have their own accounts team. I go in, I do their financial forecasting, check through check through all the books, make sure we get all the management meetings, go to the board of directors, speak to stakeholders, investors, people like that. So that's my FD side of things.
So I think what we can get here is that you're a very busy lady. You're a very busy businesswoman, because you also have some other businesses running alongside, don't
Correct,
you?
I do.
So in parallel, not serial, running.
She might do them one at a time.
I suspect not. Okay.
I'll have to clone myself, Paul.
Yeah.
So just tell us very briefly about your other businesses. And the reason I'm asking is, once again, I want people to get a picture of what it is that you're doing as a businesswoman.
Okay. So
I also want to know how you do it. Okay, so I'm sitting writing notes. And
okay. So I own a company called Carl Macy Property Solutions. There is a Carl Macy, and he's in the States, actually. I think he's a baseball. He's quite... Okay. But my children's names are Carl Macy, so that's why I called it Carl Macy Property Solutions. So I help some of my property developers that have built flats. I help them manage. So I manage their properties.
This is... So, the way it's all joined together. Look at this.
It is joined together.
So basically, some of your property developer clients.
Yes.
You've now
Or landlords.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have to be, do they? They could be developers.
Yeah, or freeholders.
Yes.
People like that. Yeah.
So, but some of the people that were already working with you within your accountancy firm, you saw an opportunity there that actually there was a gap in what they needed.
Yeah.
They already trusted you.
Yeah.
And so you set up a separate business
I did.
to manage their properties.
Absolutely.
This is so cool, isn't it?
I did. Because most of my clients, you would say, what type of clients do I have? They're in property or construction.
Okay.
Property, construction, landlords. They have Sorry, Paul.
No. It's fascinating, and I'm with Sian on this because it's brilliant to hear what you're doing. I'm trying to get it in my head as well. Are you mostly managing tenants in their properties?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. So we manage tenants in the properties, the leaseholders.
Yeah.
We even set up a sort of email accounts for their limited companies as the freeholder and write on behalf of them. So sometimes we write on behalf of the clients, so they think they're talking to a team.
Yeah.
So, on a personal level, just you.
Yes.
How does your day look, or how does your week, or whatever it is, look? What's your involvement in the day-to-day running of the property business?
Okay, so how many? I usually spend a day a week on the property business, and the rest of the time I'm doing year-end accounts or capital gains tax and
for other people.
For other people.
Yeah, okay.
So that's basically it. I have an administrator, and she also looks at the emails and sees if there's anything urgent.
So you're not. So you don't necessarily have a lot of staff that you're managing in that business. You're able to manage it yourself on one day a week with some admin support.
Which is great because it takes me away from the accounting firm just to have a break and
takes
do
your eyes off
different.
the spreadsheets.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely, and it's almost like it's a downtime.
It's a break.
It's a break.
Yeah.
And you have to. If you've been doing it for so long, you need that break.
How many hours a day do you work?
28.
Yeah.
So seriously, do you? No, I don't want to become one of these like Gary V people where if you have like half an hour off, obviously everything's going to implode and you're going to fail.
Yeah.
But how much of your week are you working? Do you actually take time off when you're gone?
The only time I take off is if I'm going to do yoga and stuff like that in the evenings. My weekends, I tend not to work unless there's urgency. I've always said family time is weekend time.
Okay.
Like so the housework, the cleaning.
So
and
you very tightly, in a way, apart from like you say emergencies, you've partitioned. You're not working at the weekends.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
During the week, clients
full on.
Yeah. Clients do ask me questions. They still get answers at the weekend. But I say I'll get back to you on Monday. You can't do anything about hegemon C on a Sunday afternoon. You need to talk to them on the Monday. So the client knows that I'm on it.
Yeah.
And as far as they're concerned, she's on it. She's responded.
Very busy. I don't know where we're going now. I've totally and utterly lost track of where we are. You see, my next question doesn't really fit. We'll ignore that. I was going to ask because most of our guests actually sort of have one business and one focus. So I don't want to say the next question because it makes it sound like I did actually have some structure, but I do have some ideas about what we're going to talk about. And very often what I'll ask is, what's the key problem that you solve for people? But I'm not sure you have one because you do so much.
Yeah. A lot of clients, new business, should I say, come to me and say, should I be sole trader or limited company? That's one of the major questions.
So just helping them define or decide on the best structure for where they're going.
Absolutely. So if they're a startup, we get a lot of startups that come being introduced to us. So they'll say, I've been told by one accountant this and another accountant that. And then I usually say, let's have a coffee. Let's sit down. What's your dreams? What's your admirations? Where do you want to go with this business? Where do you see yourself with this business in 5 years' time? And then we can see where you want to be. If you want to be a VAT registered company, then I would say probably go down the private limited company. If it's just going to be you, sole trader, you're selling a few products, you work full time somewhere else, then be self-employed. Don't get into the limited company structure just purely because, it is more costly, more accounting fees. I'm always honest. More accounting fees because there's a lot more that
lot more obligations and legal obligations, and I'm sure that's the same in other countries as well.
Exactly.
Let's get down and talk more about you, because you have had some challenges, haven't you?
Yes.
The menopause, which affects everybody in different ways. Recently diagnosed with ADHD.
Correct.
I'm sure I had another one written down there, but I can't read my own writing.
I mean, so the menopause happened for me when I was 35 because I had a full hysterectomy. So everything was taken, even the ovaries, because I had abnormal cells of the cervix. So I went through a bit of treatment. So I went through that for 10 years, but then I was going through my next sort of phase of menopause where I should have been having my menopause, and then
Are you able to, I'm not sure if this is even possible, but there's some challenges that come with the menopause.
Yes, there is.
As far as being a woman is concerned, as far as being a man is concerned as well, because they sort of have to live with it and deal with it as well. And there's challenges that come with ADHD.
Yeah.
A lot of these problems, I think some of them are personal. So if you can't remember something, or if you're getting confused, that's personal. I think some of them are external, with the expectations of other people, perhaps in the workforce or in society, are expecting you to behave. And guess what? You can't fit into that mould now.
I don't fit into that mould at all.
So is there a way of sort of lumping them all together and saying, okay, well, this is what I was dealing with, and this is how I found it worked for me. Here's some of the tactics that I used to overcome some of this. You're looking.
All I did was look at you, Sian. I didn't say anything. I just looked.
Yeah.
This is it. It's the way you looked.
Absolutely. So I didn't get diagnosed with the menopause until diagnosed with ADHD till after I was in the menopause, because I didn't know I had ADHD, and I think many years ago they didn't really. There's probably lots of adults going around with ADHD that are undiagnosed.
There's a lot of things here that we kind of don't always think about. Things like dyslexia, ADHD, all those kind of things are labels we've put on people recently.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the past, we had no labels for those things.
Yeah.
They were just people that behaved differently.
Yeah.
I think very often they were people who were slow, or they were labelled in school as underachievers. They were put in the slow lane.
Special assistants.
But I agree 100% with what you said earlier, Sian, which is none of these things are disabilities. They're just different ways of being. Yeah. And what you said is true. They go, oh, you're slow, or you're dim, or you're thick. Yeah. Because you don't fit into our system.
Because you don't pass exams in the same way that everybody else does.
That they want you to. But there's no such thing as normality. There is no one normal thing. There's a whole range of things. It's like autism is a spectrum. Everybody could be autistic.
Absolutely.
It's just where you are on that spectrum.
Absolutely.
We've invented these victim labels, and I don't think that helps a great deal, to be honest.
I mean, if a book recommendation that I have, if you are dyslexic, is The Gift of Dyslexia by Ronald Davis. I've raised two boys who supposedly had special needs. Both of them are now earning more money in industries that I could not even begin to imagine in my wildest dreams I would be in. So it's not a disability. It's not a label that you have to carry around as failure. But what were the challenges that you found with? I think perhaps my question of separating them up isn't going to work. What were you dealing with on a day-to-day basis? Some of the things that you found challenging. Trying to run a business.
Okay, it's funny because I like challenges. My brain was more wired, so I do like challenges. I am dyslexic. That's why I don't write emails so often. I'm more of a vocal person because of my dyslexia. So when people are like, I'm replying back to emails, I always get it checked by somebody else. So I found that most difficult. I also found difficult is that sometimes I was forgetful. That's my brain.
Yeah.
My brain. So I have a calendar or a dictaphone, and I go, please note to myself every night what things that I've got to do. Because there was a point that I actually thought, oh my God, what's happening to me? And that's when I went into the menopause and then found out I had ADHD. That that is one of them. And also sometimes I'm up and down like a yo-yo as well. So some days I'm like, yeah, raring to go. And then the next day I'm just like, I just want quiet time. I don't want to talk to anybody.
And other days, a snarling monster in the corner.
Absolutely. I just want to veg out, like maybe on exactly. Or, yeah, exactly. Or I could be, aggressive. I don't mean to be aggressive, but that's
you
just,
are.
I am. And I tell people what to do, but overly. So there's those sort of things that, I had to back up when you get a team.
Sorry. I, when you said, I just had you off now.
Exactly, yeah.
So how... I think the first step is to recognise, isn't it? Is to acknowledge and own that you're forgetting things.
Absolutely.
That it's time to spend a day on your own.
Yeah.
That you might be getting a little, what shall we say, snappy.
Yeah, very.
And to acknowledge that, and possibly acknowledge it with other people as well, to acknowledge it in your team.
Absolutely.
And then you had certain tools that you brought in. So number one, first, realising that you weren't going mad.
Yeah.
That it was that it was okay.
It was okay. It was normal.
It was manageable.
Yeah.
And then you brought in stuff to help you manage that, to minimise the effect of forgetting. You see, I'm talking like a woman who knows exactly what you have to. I sort of know. So you brought in tools that helped you manage that.
Absolutely. And the reason why menopause affected me in that way is because when your estrogen levels go down, your ADHD stuff comes up. And
I did not know that.
Yeah. When I spoke to, because I go and see a counsellor. Okay, I'll admit that I see a counsellor, but when I talk to her, she's also got ADHD, and she said it's your estrogen levels. When your estrogen levels go down, that's why.
Now that is a really interesting fact, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So that's how I found out I had ADHD, because I was like, oh, who am I? What's going on? I know you get that from the menopause, but I'm always on the go. I need to be challenged. I need to, I don't sit down. I feel like I'm on this planet and I'm going round and round and round. And if I stop for a moment, whoa, I'll be dizzy.
It's all, something's going to go wrong. Okay, let's talk about awards, because you already have... You've won a really significant award, haven't you, which is Top 50 Women in Accounting.
Yes.
And I think you're going to be, or you have been nominated
again.
Is it for the same award?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow, okay.
And one other award with the IAB, which is the Institute of Accountants and Bookkeepers award. They have that once a year at,
somewhere.
Houses of Parliament. How can I forget that?
Oh, okay. So quite a significant somewhere. Okay. It's not in like it's not sort of in the community sense.
Sorry.
Okay. So you're being nominated. You're not nominating yourself.
No.
Okay. So I think it's brilliant to nominate yourself. Are these awards that you could nominate yourself, or is it that you're being nominated?
I could nominate myself, but I've been nominated.
And who's nominating you?
Team members, clients.
Got you.
So it's great that they feel that, I should be nominated for these awards, that I've been there for them. And
how do you think you may or may not know this, but how do you think you contributed to that nomination? Is there anything that you did that you think may have sparked that?
No, I just do me, is what I'm going to say. I do.
What you mean, apart from being a brilliant person?
Yeah. But I think there's something. I think there are some people who maybe give out vibes, which is I'm not out there. I don't want to be involved with this sort of thing. But you're also. I don't see you as a person who sort of pushes yourself forwards and make sure that sort of thing happens. You're not like that.
No.
So I'm just wondering if there was something that you put out there, if you're like, let's talk, perhaps woo-woo, that said, actually, do you know, this would be quite nice.
I mean, it is nice.
Because it's quite a lot that you've now been nominated for.
I know.
So well done.
Oh, thank you. It is amazing. Like I say, I love what I do, Sian. I get up every day and I'm lucky. You say that lucky is not the right word, but I feel lucky.
No, I'm not arguing with you again about it. If you're going to carry on using it, that's fine.
No, grateful. I use the word grateful, but it's nice that my team members feel that I deserve this, and it's nice that my clients think I deserve this too. That makes my day. In fact, when I got those emails recently, it's great.
Yes. Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Let's have a little bit of a sort of quick fire round, because I quite like these. So I'm just going to... We've got a few questions now that we fire at people. So let's go for it. What's your biggest failure ever?
Ooh. Oh my God, there could be many.
Pick the first one that comes into your head.
Okay, my biggest failure is, Can it be a personal?
It's up to you.
Okay, all right. My biggest failure is I could have been more of a mum to my children, because I'm very entrepreneurial. And I think that's it. It's the reason I personal, it's because my children also have their own disabilities, which I didn't know about, and I could have been more of a hands-on mum. I relied on other people.
Perhaps you're a fantastic example, though.
They do. Well, my daughter works for me and my son works for me.
So perhaps this is your failure in your head.
It's a failure in my head. I think there's an element of guilt. I feel that failure is guilt. Yeah. Because I was a single mother, and bringing up 2 children and working and using nannies and childminders. And there are times that I would have felt, I wish I was there more. Yeah.
Okay.
That to me is, I could have done things differently.
Okay. Let's switch it on its head now. What's your superpower?
What's my superpower? Helping anybody in anything. If you call me and say, Michele, I really need help with something, I'll be there. I think that's my superpower. I think helping somebody.
Yeah, because not everybody can do that. Not everybody can do it graciously. A lot of people do it, and they manage to they can't give or receive, can they?
So
does that make it goes? It sort of goes both ways. They can't receive either.
Yeah. So if I get a phone call maybe from a friend of mine, and she says, "I'm really, really struggling, Michele. I don't know what to do," I say, 10 minutes. I'll be down to you. Let's sit, have a coffee. I'll take an early lunch, and I'm back up to my office. You know, those sort of things. If a client says to me, I don't know what to do, help, I'm there.
You're there.
I'm there. That's my superpower. I love what I do, as I said. Yeah.
You're a classic people person, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah.
I like to please people. That could be a failure. I can't say no.
You see, we unravel things in this show.
I can't say no. That'd be my failure, wouldn't it?
Let's go over onto something a little more neutral. And what are you reading at the moment?
Okay, so I did recently read You Do You.
Oh, okay.
And it's so I read this book. She's got I've forgotten her name now. Can you believe it?
Yeah, it's all right. It's a well-known book, isn't it? People go and look on the big bookshop in the world. They'll be able to find it.
Yeah, so You Do You. And she basically has also her challenges. She's in her 20s, and she's also got ADHD. And she also is running a business. Okay. And I like it. On the audio, I was listening to it on the audio. So I wasn't actually reading it, I was listening to the audio. Sometimes I can't read on books just because of the dyslexia issue. Yeah. And so listening, I like to listen to people and stuff. And I found that book really I can relate to everything she's talking about. She may be younger than me, but the things that she was saying related to me.
I want to mention a book this week, which I don't often do, but it's a book that I've just got, and it is actually about sort of about ADHD. It's about children who are perhaps born differently, who see things in different ways, and it's about being able to do that and actually for it to be fantastic. And it's a really good book for older children. I don't think it really matters what age you are, actually.
Yeah.
And it's called The Baby Dragon Manifesto.
Oh, wow.
By Dane Here.
Okay.
And I'm going to give a recommendation out for that. I think it's something that you could read at any age, actually, but it goes from 0 until 12. But I think it's perfect for older people as well, who perhaps don't conform. So I would recommend that.
You Do You with Sarah Knight.
Thank you.
The anti-guru, as she's titled.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's have another one. What have you learnt this week?
What have I learnt this week?
Yeah, what have you learnt this week?
Not to come on radio show.
No, that's not what I've learnt this week. I've recently moved to Ebbsfleet. And what I've learnt
so
this
you could
week,
just trot along the road to the
thinking.
Longfield Academy.
I couldn't even get a train here. Stop. It would have saved me an hour. No, that's what I probably learned this week is just, finding routes. I haven't been on the road because I was quite spoilt. Where I lived before, I had the office like 5 minutes down the road, never used the car for a while, and now I'm using the car all the time. I'm up and down the A2 and everything. So I've learnt different routes and learning different places to go to and seeing different things. I've opened my eyes a bit more. So that's what I've learnt this week.
A bit of exploring.
Which I wouldn't normally see.
And what's been your top challenge this week?
Ooh, top challenge. Top challenge is trying to get. I don't like talking about government offices, but trying to get into trying to get to talk to someone at HMRC to explain to them that they got to talk to one department and talk to the other department to get an outcome for a client. That is the biggest challenge, is always talking to them. And
it's that sort of thing is quite frustrating as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Because it's like banging your head against a brick wall a lot of the time. And it's pointless, isn't it?
Yeah, 1 hour, 2 hours, could be on the phone. And, even though we're the agent, they might turn around and say, oh, with this department, you can't talk to us. You have to get the client to talk. And then you think, that's it. I find that frustrating, and I've always said I wanted to speak to Myrtle Lloyd at HMRC about this.
I suppose it's one of the challenges as well when you set up when you're in a business that I don't do that sort of thing. I can get somebody else like you to do that. But when you're in a business where you actually have to, you've got no choice. You have to deal with the government. There are certain things that you have to deal with, certain organisations.
Yeah.
So, okay. And perhaps something to bear in mind, looking at the type of business that you're setting up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that approach is entirely why she's successful, because she takes away that grief from her clients. But it's also a classic example of what we were saying earlier with organisations like HMRC, is they pass the buck amongst themselves just to avoid doing the work, and it just generates 10 times as much work. And the NHS is the worst for that. I was a management consultant in the NHS 20 years ago, and their communication processes are diabolical, and they've got worse and worse and worse. They create their own problems by not handling their patients correctly, and it's just everything falls through the crack. They won't handle it there and then, and then it all just builds up and goes to pot. And HMRC are as bad, aren't they?
They are.
So if you're starting a business, bear in mind that you may be that may be the role that you need to take on, and it can be immensely frustrating.
Absolutely.
Moving on to something slightly different. What's your top tool? This doesn't have to be this week, but have you got a top tool, a technique, or a productivity tip?
Okay, my top tool is ClickUp. Love it. We brought ClickUp into place.
What's that do?
So basically, it's like projects. So if I'm saying we can put deadlines, so I say to a member of a team, if they're not in the office, this needs to be done by 2 hours today or within a week. We can do all deadlines with it in the project. So basically, it gives you a reminder email. Hey, you've got to finalise this. And if you don't finalise it keeps sending the emails, which is great because sometimes we needed a tool like that. So we've got because most of us work virtually, we needed something was, good for us to all work with. I know we've got Slack, but ClickUp's brilliant.
Yeah, and I think I've been having, I don't know whether you call it a challenge, but a realisation this week that I have lots of different tools for lots of different things. And I don't know, it just suddenly occurred to me that there is no way that you can have one thing, one tool that does absolutely everything.
Yeah.
You have to find a way of unless you're going to have something built, bespoke built at some ridiculous cost.
Yeah.
That you have to make these things work together, and you have to partition them out. You can't have two project managers.
Yeah.
And you can't have two calendars.
Yeah.
You have to find a way of making them work. You have to find.
How about 4 calendars?
No.
Is that no, okay.
But you see, that's the thing. I came from a place where I did have 4 calendars, but it doesn't work.
No.
You have to somehow have them together. There has to be one place where everything is under one roof, so you can get the full picture of everything that's happening.
Absolutely.
And so you have to. But accept that you are going to need different tools for different things, and that perhaps one of the best things that you can do is sit down and do a plan of what this tool is going to manage and what that tool is going to manage.
Absolutely.
And remember it, because now they all blur, don't they?
They do.
So things like Airtable is also, you can manage projects, but it also has a calendar.
Yeah.
Zoho CRM has a task manager, and so does this, and so does that.
Yeah.
And if you put your tasks in 15 different tools,
in nightmare,
and you have 4 calendars, this way madness lies.
Yeah.
4 calendars, not 4 candles.
I tell you what, you and I are old enough to remember that,
yeah,
but others aren't.
Yeah.
I mean, you could add those 4 calendars to a Gmail account.
But you end up with one. So you have one calendar in one place.
Yeah.
You have one project manager. You have one task manager, and so somehow you manage to bring all of these things together so that you've got an overview. I think that's particularly challenging when you do what you do, which is with more than one business.
Yeah, absolutely.
I struggled with that for a long time as to how I actually bring the whole lot together.
Yeah, so we have a ClickUp, for each company, but within this, so I can click onto each one.
ClickUp.
ClickUp.
Thank you very much. Now, Michele, how can people get hold of you? Because there's lots of reasons to get hold of you. They might want their accounts done. They might want their property managed. But they also, because you do strategic business support as well.
Absolutely.
Or would that support the right way, or is it strategic business direction?
Absolutely.
How do people get hold of you for all of those things?
Okay, just go to our website, which is at www.futureinsight.co.uk.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I've still got a couple more.
Of course.
You haven't finished. What is your which of those businesses? I think we'll pick the accountancy business.
Okay.
For somebody looking at it from the point of view of somebody who has a business that needs to run accounts, that needs to do accounts, what's your top tip for managing those accounts? Apart from going to see an accountant, what's your top tip for actually getting that sorted?
Probably finding the right software for you. Every company is different, so every company needs a software that works for them.
So you're talking about an accountancy software, so
software.
Xero, Zoho, there's loads of them, aren't there?
There is a few. There are some free softwares. You could use your good old-fashioned Excel spreadsheet. They have a template for doing your bookkeeping expenditure already in Excel, and invoices templates as well. So if not gone down the route of software, but most softwares will help you. They're incompetitive. They're doing 50% off at the moment, some of the softwares. So it's just like...
So basically have a good deeper dive into them and make sure you get the right one. Because there's quite a steep learning curve on a lot of them, isn't there? If you're going to do it yourself, you want to make sure that you're sort of hitting something that's right.
Or get some training. Get some training from a bookkeeper or training from an accountant. We have trainers in our accountancy firm on certain softwares.
Okay.
So, we do some training. Even if you need an hour of our time, we do that. So...
there's also the compatibility, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's no good you picking an obscure package that you like. If your accountants go, I've never even heard of that. I don't even know what it is. You've got to work together on it.
Absolutely. I mean, we work with 22 packages.
Yeah.
So,
quite a lot.
It's quite a lot. Yeah, because we have that kind of, like I say, it's that brain.
Yes. So getting the right software. So it could be the right software for you if you're doing it yourself totally in-house. If you want to work with an accountant, making sure that you're either tapping into a software that your accountant uses, or that if you're a new accountant that they're using or they understand the software that you're already using.
Absolutely.
I love that. super tip. Looking at you now as a businesswoman, what's your top tip for being in business?
Top tip for being in business.
Yes.
You've got to like what you do. There's no point getting up every morning and getting all the challenges and the hassles and stuff if you don't like what you do. And I like what I do, so
I think you love what you do.
I do.
Actually,
I think I've been saying love. Yeah,
I think you love what you do.
If you don't love what you do, then
you're stuffed.
Not that you're stuffed. Find something that you do.
Yeah, I think you are actually. I think if you really don't like what you're doing, it's not going to happen.
I'll work. So if you're working full time in a job and you really want to go into being an entrepreneur part time, do it part time. See if you take that off.
Yeah, because very often, you may like baking cupcakes, but running a business that bakes cupcakes is not quite the same as just being in the kitchen all the time baking cupcakes, is it?
Exactly.
So you need to give it a go.
A side hustle.
Yes.
I hate that word. I hate that
I know,
word,
that's
hustle.
why I said it.
Have you been listening to my show?
Strangely, yes.
I hate that word. I hate it when people say, I set up a side hustle. It sounds like they're doing something dodgy in a corner or walking up the show. I don't like that word. It's not a hustle. Thank you so much, Paul. Anyway, listen, we are going to say goodbye for the moment to Michele. Michele, a Future Insight Consultancy Limited, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing so much.
Thank you so much.
My co-host today, Paul Andrews, thank you so much, Paul. We're going to say goodbye. I'm Sian Murphy. This is the Women in Business Radio Show, and we will see you very, very shortly.
Tune in next week to the Women in Business Radio Show for more stories, ideas, and inspiration to help you grow your business.